307 Reacts. I'm Matt. That's Chris.
Yo.
You guys are the best audience in the world. And today, it's time. It's time. You saw the thumbnail. So I haven't read it yet, but it's Tom MacDonald, Wrapped in Freedom, Stories of Us from PragerU. So all I know about this is it's going to be some sort of interview with Tom MacDonald. What can you tell me about this? Have you seen this? Do you know?
I have seen PragerU interviews before. I think they did one with Jordan Peterson that was really good.
Sounds right. Yep.
I think their style of interview is really interesting. I think once me and Matt take this new venture that we're going to be taking, which if you don't know, we'll be not doing reactions beginning of next month. And we'll be moving towards recording local bands here and committing more time towards that.
Studio only.
And doing interviews that will then go on this channel with that band. And I think this would be a style of interview I would like to get into once we get more experience. I like how clean it is. The interviewer is never in there. You never hear them ask a question. It's just the person talking, which is pretty cool. So I think it's really interesting to, number one, for us to analyze this and kind of see okay, what kind of questions would I have to ask? And then how do I cut that together later in editing? How does all that work based on what I see? And believe it or not, that's how a lot of things are engineered. That's why the military is so scared of other countries getting a hold of our drones because they see the finished product and then they disassemble it and see how it works. That's kind of what we're going to do with this. I mean, and it's more of a mental thing for me. We'll probably more just focus on Tom's answers.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like this style interview, and I was like, you know what? Since we're going to be moving towards that, let's see how this style interview compares to Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, that type of thing. Okay. And, just get some inspiration. We're out here trying to get inspired.
I've never really seen Tom in an interview setting, so this would be kind of a first
I've seen a couple. They were mostly over, Zoom
I've seen those kind of clips, but I've never seen him, professionally sit down and, talk the talk. So
he's done another one very recently, almost the same time this came out. There was another interview with him where he actually sat down with a lady, and which we'll cover that in a live show. I believe that interview is 30 minutes to an hour long. Okay. It's pretty good length. Yeah. So.
We'll have to check that out. In the meantime, we are going to, so we're going to check this one out, Wrapped in Freedom. Please hit that subscribe button. It's more important than ever. We will be we'll be putting out a video at the end of the month, just a video, me and Chris sitting down explaining exactly what's going on and kind of going more in depth with it. But up until then, this is kind of what we're just little brief news thingies. Yep. Rich Bros Gaming, down in our description, our buddy Alex and his brother started a computer company. They should have a Facebook at this point, so if you go to Facebook and type in Rich Bros Gaming, they should. If you type it in Facebook and it comes up, awesome, they've got it. If it doesn't, they need to get their shit together, and we're trying to put the fire into their ass to do that. You know what I mean?
Which I get it. They're busy. I mean, gosh, Doobie's got a couple PCs he's working on right now. He just finished doing some upgrades to mine. Guys, it looks insane. It's so cool. I bet it's cool, dude. I need to show you pictures.
I need videos. I need videos. But anyways, so check them out. Other than that, that's all we have for the news at this point. Sorry for the long intros. This is just kind of the format of what's going on and will be going on for the next few weeks up until we decide to fully transition into our new thing here. So for the time being, hit that subscribe button and let's see what Tom's got to say.
Wrapped in Freedom.
They're going to take away my social media You can cancel me? I own all the cameras. I own all the lights. I own the recording software.
Yes.
There's no endorsement that I'm going to lose.
Love that.
My name is Tom MacDonald, and this is my story. So I grew up in a very small town in Canada called Mission. We spent a lot of time at my grandparents' place and a lot of time with my granddad. And my dad and my grandfather were huge into politics, primarily American politics. My grandfather was a huge patriot, and I used to...
I recognize this song, and I just can't.
It sounded familiar, and then I stopped listening because I can't.
I know that Nova's in the video. I know she's in the video. Anyway, if you notice, we're gonna go back to actually listening to Tom. But what type of questions do I ask? Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up? What was it like growing up? Did you live with your parents? How were your parents like? How about your grandparents? And you'll notice his seating position will change, right? So they would start off with, where did you grow up? And it would be...
So I grew up in a very small town in Canada called Mission. We spent a lot of time at my grandparents' place and a lot of time with my granddad. And my dad and my grandfather were huge into politics, primarily like American politics. My grandfather was a huge...
So there's a lot of editing on the backside for this style of interview for sure. I like the can lights in the back.
Those are so nice.
Nice touch.
Very nice touch, man.
Anyway, so that's enough about that. That answers that for me. So
that's all we need.
Yeah. If you guys enjoyed today's
5 out of 5.
But no, I'm interested to hear more for sure. So
huge patriot, and I used to sit on the end of his bed and we'd watch the news. I remember we were watching it on the news, and my grandfather said, "It doesn't matter what's happening in the United States, that national anthem brings the country together every single time."
That's facts.
My grandfather was a very prolific writer, and he inspired me to write things of my own. I remember I wrote this poem in memorial of fallen Canadian soldiers. The soldiers I was writing about won the battle, and then the general or the sergeant was frowning, and my English teachers tore this thing apart. Why is he frowning if he won the war? My dad was livid. He's like, of course he's frowning. He lost all these soldiers. He's coming out of a war. Like, of course he's not happy. So my grandfather contacted this renowned Canadian poet, and she wrote me a letter saying how much she loved the poem and how great it was. And then she actually had it published in a Canadian magazine. I remember my dad coming to my school and dropping the magazine on that teacher's desk and turning around and walking out. One day I went to a pawn shop with my dad, and he gave me $5. And he said, "You can buy anything in this pawn shop with this $5. And I found this crate of CDs. Inside there was a Tupac album called All Eyes on Me. It was a 2 CD set, and I'm just looking at it economically. If I get this Tupac album, I get 2 CDs for the price of one. So I just bought it. I had no idea who Tupac was. I listened to those 2 albums for years, and I fell in love with hip hop at that point in time. But there's a huge disconnect. There's just like a little white boy from the suburbs who's listening to this like fully grown black gangster rapper talking about a life that I have nothing in common with. So then many years later, I get on the school bus and this kid sits next to me and he's like, "You gotta hear this." And I'm like, "What is it?" And he's like, "It's this white rapper. His name's Eminem." So I put on the headphones and was just totally captivated. He's got blonde hair like me. He's got blue eyes like me. And that was like the first time the light bulb went off in my head. Like, I could do that. So the poetry evolved into rap music. And I kept those songs hidden for years and years and years, stuffed in a binder inside a drawer in my room. I loved music, but I just wasn't ready to step into that arena yet. So I took a detour. I got into construction, and I was 14 or 15 years old, being bullied by the other workers. So I thought, how am I gonna work for the rest of my life and deal with this type of harassment?
Right.
So I decided I'd give pro wrestling a try. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna throw the biggest roadblock up for myself ever. So I went and got tattoos on my face. I got these $ signs on my eyelids.
Damn.
So that I couldn't get hired anywhere. I'd have no choice but to be a pro wrestler. And that's what I did. I wrestled on all these pay-per-views with former and current WWF guys and traveled the country, and I got into a little bit of a scrap one time with one of these guys and jumped off the top rope and to do a frog splash, and I crushed all the cartilage in both my knees. My knees were so messed up that it sort of forced me out of the wrestling business. It was heartbreaking because I loved it so much. But that exit provided me with the greatest opportunity ever, where I had this sort of clean slate. I had a passion for music that I wasn't able to explore up until that moment because I was so devoted to the wrestling business. So I started pulling those papers out of that binder in that drawer in my bedroom and recording songs, and that was the beginning. So I started making...
Now, I think it's... Tom went pretty extreme, right? He's like, I made it to where I had to succeed. I did not have a choice to fail.
Yeah.
I went and got tattoos on my face so that way I could not get it. I have to make this work. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, okay? the way you do that in a healthy manner.
It's a bold choice. Yeah, it's a bold choice.
I don't suggest doing that. I'm sure Tom would say, hey, I wouldn't suggest it, but...
It was for him personally. That's what he needed. That's what he needed to do.
Yeah.
It's not the end all be all for everyone in order for your goals to work. But for him and his vision, that's what he's like in his brain.
Yeah.
Was like, this is how this is going to work.
Yeah. And Jordan Peterson, he talks about it on Theo Vaughn's podcast, actually, where he talks about, when you make a goal towards a dream, right? He goes, it's important to understand, okay, if I stay where I'm at, what's my life going to look like in 5 years? And then, oh my gosh, this is going to suck. And they were talking about specifically like drinking. If I continue to drink and I continue to do drugs and I'm addicted to this thing, where am I going to be in 5 years? Well, potentially dead is a pretty common answer.
That's more likely than not. That's, yeah.
I may be broke. I may be on the street. I won't have any friends, nobody to help me. Like, he goes, okay, but like, what is it going to look like if you quit? And he's like, well, I don't know. Well, that has to be better than all the other shit. So you give yourself something to run to, even if you don't know what it is, because you're so afraid of what's behind you.
And even the I don't know, subconsciously, And that's something I learned through my counseling was like, just because you say you don't know doesn't mean you don't actually know. It's that you're, like you said, maybe you're a little bit uneducated about it, or you're a little bit timid about being that person because it's someone you've never been before, or something like that. But you have a vision in your head. So even when you say I don't know, it's worth diving into it and going, well, explain what it looks like. What do you think it looks like when you're completely sober?
Well,
like where are you?
And then he goes further to say, like, okay, if your life could look the way you would want it to look in 5 years, what would that look like?
Yeah.
He goes, something reasonable. You can't have a house that floats around the sky or whatever.
5 years is like, it goes by pretty quick.
It goes by quick.
Like, it doesn't take long.
Be realistic.
Yeah, be realistic with it. But in 5 years, like, where would you like to be? Maybe instead of all that money you're spending on booze now you've got a collection jar where all that money that you would have spent over the last 5 years is in a big jar, and you've got however many thousands of dollars in there that you can now reinvest into something that is worth it or whatever. Like just something like that. Like those little small changes, man, for sure.
It's it's very interesting, and a lot of people. I know my wife's sister was one of those. She had a really bad addiction problem, and she's still going through the backside of that, getting clean and all that stuff.
It's real tough to get rid of those demons, man. Those demons.
You could ask her, like, she says all the time, well, what am I supposed to do now? Bro, live your life. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's so difficult for someone like me to understand because I've always been a goal person, right? Even if the goal is stupid small, I've always been a goal-oriented person.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When I'm at work, it's not, oh, well, I'm just going to work on this till 12 and then I'm going to go to lunch. It's, okay, I'm going to get this intake off. And once this intake's off, I should be good to go to lunch. And sometimes that's 11 o'clock, sometimes that's 3 in the afternoon, whenever the intake comes off. But, like, some people get so sucked into their life and what's going on around them, they don't know what it looks like outside of that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And it's crazy. Sometimes I don't know. Hey, well, that's got to be better than where you're at.
That's okay. Like, it's okay not to know, but but start to really visualize that. Start to think about it, and eventually your brain will come up with a better looking picture, and then you can start working towards that picture.
What would you like to do for work?
Yeah.
What would you like to do outside of work?
Yeah.
Like, it's good stuff.
And then even then, what would you like to do? I don't know. I've been doing this for so long. It's like, well, think about it.
Yeah.
You don't like doing this anymore, so where would you be happy?
Spend a week trying new things. Yeah. See what piques your interest. Like,
maybe while you're working this job, throw a random application into this place that's hiring that does the thing that you're looking into getting into, and just see what they say. Go in and have a conversation with them. That's what an interview is for. Yep. Like it's there's always options out there for sure.
Yeah, but the tattoos, man, that's wild.
That's it's a bold move. It's a bold move.
Worked out.
Yep.
Recording songs, and that was the beginning. So I started making this music that was very reminiscent of my favorite rappers, and it wasn't working because it wasn't my story, and it wasn't what I cared about, and it wasn't what was in my heart. But I also shifted my lifestyle to be like the guys in the rap songs that I listened to. I was placing incredible amount of emphasis on how much money I was making and the jewelry I was wearing and the clothes that I had, and I became just a raging alcoholic. Just partied my life away for many, 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 many years. I ended up having just incredible mental breakdown and sort of unraveling of my psyche one night. The room was moving and like shifting around me. I look at myself in the mirror. I don't even recognize myself. I was like hyperventilating, and I went to the doctor, and the doctor put me on Cipralex, which was not the solution. I contacted a mental health place, and I couldn't get in to see a therapist or a psychologist for like 6, 7, 8 months because the Canadian healthcare system is just abysmal. Yep. So I go to this doctor. He puts me on some sort of beta blocker. That doesn't work. This just goes on and on and on for, 4, 5, 6 months. And then I go back to the doctor one day and I'm like, nobody's helping me. Every moment feels like an eternity. Like, you have to help me. And I just told him straight up, I'm going to kill myself if you don't give me something today. So he gave me Ativan.
Jesus Christ.
For the first time in 7 months, I experienced calm. The first thing I thought was, I don't want to be on these pills for the rest of my life. I hate to say it, but the Ativan kind of like saved my life.
Wow.
It at least gave me the headspace to figure out what was going on. I have a tattoo on my stomach and it says, if you don't know where the fire started, you will surely burn in it. Those medications, those pills, they're never going to tell you where the fire started. They just sort of fan the smoke away for a minute. A lot of people look at these things as, oh, I have this ailment and these guys over here have the cure. Fix me. But that's not how it works.
No.
You have to fix yourself. So I started really digging into what the source of my unwellness was. I kind of realized what got me there, and that was emulating the stuff in the music. So I had this sort of epiphany, and I figured out, I don't want to make that music anymore. I don't want to make music that's going to do to other people what that music has done to me. So instead of destroying, I wanted to empower. I want to rap about things that I talked about with my granddad and my dad, social issues and political stuff. That's what I'm interested in talking about in my everyday life. Why would I then not go and do that in my music? While I was going through that process, I made plans to move to America. And my lawyer called and said, your visa got approved. I believe that timing is everything, and it was like a meant to be type of thing. So I got on the plane, flew out here to LA, and I reconnected with an old friend who later became my girlfriend. Nova and I first met in Canada, and she was like the only female in Canada putting on rap shows. We moved into a house in Crenshaw.
Hell yeah.
We lived in the hood together. And
hell yeah, dude.
It was grim. We couldn't pay the rent and do groceries in the same month. There's water coming through the ceiling. I'd wake up and open a cupboard and you'd just see cockroaches scatter off the plates. Like, it was unbelievable poverty. This really strange thing happened this one day where I was like sitting in the house and I was listening to the radio, and some big mainstream record label rapper came on, and I was listening to this song that was playing, and it was sort of like this woe is me, like, it's so hard to deal with all the attention I get, and it's so difficult to be this successful. And I was so offended. I was like, how dare you make a song trashing the dream that I've been chasing for years and years and years and almost died to get. So I started penning this like open letter to the guy that I had just heard on the radio. At the time, I only wrote when I smoked. So I grabbed the cigarette pack and I opened it, and there's half a smoke in there. Whatever I'm writing, it's got to be done by the time this half cigarette's out. So I got like 2.5 minutes tops. I don't remember slowing down to consider what I was writing next. It just happened. I just wrote this whole song. Nova was sitting in her bedroom, and I opened the door and said, I just wrote the song that's going to change our lives. Set up the camera. I need to shoot this. So she set up everything, and it was just a gray backdrop. We had one light, and we shot the video for Dear Rappers.
It's easy for these rappers who have it all. Talk about the days when they used to be sad. I guess I can't relate to being famous and wealthy. I'm 28 and still praying for the day I have a chance.
I called my mom and said, Mom.
Dude, that makes so much sense.
That reaction to that song was so good. I remember reacting to that, God, what was it, 3 years ago?
Oh, that had to be one of the first ones, yeah.
The camera quality for that episode, guys, top tier.
It was either the Zoom or the GoPro Cube. And either way,
it was bad.
Either way, it was bad. Looking straight through a fisheye on both of those things, man.
Man, it's such a good song, though. But it's cool that that's the
story.
Like, he shot that in the hood, in the shittiest situation possible, like,
and just angry at some bigwig, who was like, "Oh, I can't believe how famous I am. Oh, it's such a drag." And it's like, "Fuck you," you know.
That's why I don't
dude.
like a lot of like movie stars and stuff. Like, okay, so I had this weird thing, right, and it's gotten this way with Ryan Upchurch. I'm starting to get that way where it's like, dude, I just can't stay. He's always talking shit for no reason, but the big thing, Billie Eilish, right? She came out, she got big, whatever, right? She said something to the effect of, I just don't understand why all these pretty girls are with ugly guys. That doesn't make any sense. Like, date within your range. And I was like, wow. Must be fucking nice to have all that money and privilege.
Yeah,
huh?
and
Like, that's fucking
all
crazy.
the options in the world. Yeah, weird.
Like, I just can't stand. There's a lot of actors and stuff that I can't stand because they go out and do shit like that.
I have met famous dudes from bands that I've listened to since my childhood, bands that inspired me since the day I started, playing music.
Yeah.
And you go and you see these guys at shows, you happen to end up, in a position where you can meet them.
Yeah.
And you go to shake their hands, and there's been dudes that I've met that are just like total fucking assholes. And it's like they act like they don't want to be there, and they're just like having a bummer time, and it's like, man, it must be rough that you get to get on a tour bus every day and just go travel the world with your friends playing music, and everyone here adores you and have looked up to you since they were children. Like, oh, dude, that must be
crazy.
And you get free food everywhere you go, and there's just always a platter of shit, and you have green rooms, and you don't have to move your equipment because you got crews to do it. Whoa, dude, what a rough life. And you get free clothing and, like, anything you want basically handed to you. Must be rough, dude. Yeah. Must be really rough. Like, get on stage again and complain about how you hate being on tour and you'd rather be home, like, in your famous band signed by Sony. Like, what?
Crazy.
You have everything you want. and that's the thing is, like, dude, I looked up to you as a child. Yeah. And, like, to see you get on the stage and be such a piece of shit, like...
Yeah.
Changed my opinion on some bands real fast. Like, there are bands that I saw that I don't listen to anymore.
Yeah.
And they'll never see it, so it doesn't matter. But Davey Havoc from AFI, fucking piece of shit, dude. He's a dick.
Yeah.
And, like, he's just an asshole. And I'm not the only one who has that opinion. My other friends that have met him are the same way. Lead singer from the Ataris, dick, dude. I played a show with them, shook the guy's hand. Like, he's a jerk. He just acts like he doesn't want to be there all the time. And it's like, dude, you are literally, like, the Ataris is, like, one of the bands I grew up with.
Yeah.
Like, junior high, man, when I was first learning how to play drums, I was jamming you guys in headphones.
One of the saddest things, like, my band got the opportunity to open for Quiet Riot. And one of the, and I don't think it was necessarily a thing where I'm like, wow, I don't like this guy anymore. But it was like, God, dude, it was so sad. The original bass player, the second bass player, okay, the closest to original that's left in the band.
Sure.
I went up and talked to him. I was like, hey, man, like, any advice for a young band? Like, what's something that you would caution me against or tell me something I should do? And he was like, man, if you're looking to do this for a living, be prepared to be sad all the time. This shit sucks. I'm like, wow, that's fucking great. Thanks, guy.
Cool. Thank you for the motivational speech. That was awesome. I can't wait to get out there and play now.
Jesus.
Like, wow.
I felt so fucking... And I get it, right? They're signed to a record label, and the record label's like, hey, bro, if you still want to get a paycheck, you better be producing numbers.
You need to,
And they're an old band. Yep. Like, they have to... They don't have a choice. Yep. They have to tour.
These are dudes who, like, when you played with them, were probably in their 50s.
He was easily in his 60s.
I was going to say, I mean... Yeah. I can't imagine being... I mean, I'm 35, and sometimes going down the road, my knees start to lock up, and it's like I'm having hip things going on, and, like, I can't imagine being another 20 years older and doing it every single day.
Yeah.
Like, that's... Yeah, it's got to wear on you for sure.
But, I mean,
But at the same time...
You still have to have that, man, this is cool.
You got to respect the place you're in.
Yeah. Like, I could be sitting at home on welfare because I can't work my job anymore.
You got and respect the fact that some kid's coming up to you and he's like, dude, I just want to be like you one day. Like, what can you tell me? Give me a line of advice. Rather than being like, this is shit, Be like, hey, always carry 2 packs of strings with you because you never know, blah, blah, blah. Which is some cool little, like, whoa,
keep that bottle of ibuprofen on you, bro. You're going to need it.
You're going to need it. Something like that. Always pack an extra set of earplugs in your guitar case or something, Like, yes, dude, hell yeah. Yeah. There's usually some cool thing, but to hear that, you're just kind of like, wow, that was...
Well, that fucking
kind of
sucked.
demotivating.
Like, thanks.
Don't ever sign, kids. Don't ever sign to a label.
Don't sign.
They ruin your life, and you know what I mean? they make it great for a little while, and then they ruin it later down the road. So just it's not worth it.
It's just a gray backdrop. We had one light, and we shot the video for Dear Rappers.
I love that.
Easy for these rappers who have it all. Talk about the days when they used to be sad. I guess I can't relate to being famous and wealthy. I'm 28 and still praying for the day I have a chance.
I called my mom and said, Mom, I wrote a song that's going to change my life. I need like $100 so I can put an ad on Facebook and see if I can get this thing to go. Then I call my baby sister. I need $100. call my buddy Brandon, get $100 from him. I call this other guy, get $100 from him. Me and Nova take the last money that we have. We have like $400 and our rent is like $650 and we don't have any groceries. I take all of this money and I pool it all together and it's $1,100. The next morning we put out Dear Rappers on a Facebook ad and 24 hours later it had 1 million views and we were off to the races.
What?
2 weeks after that, a check came in the mail for $11,000. And that's the most money I'd ever seen in my entire life. Like, I just couldn't believe it. And next month I get a check for $20,000 and the next month 30 and the next month 50. All of a sudden we had $1 million.
Cancel culture runs the world now. The planet went crazy. Label everything we say as homophobic or racist.
I rap about political topics.
We won't always agree. No, I don't hate all police.
Gender stuff and race stuff.
I think Black Lives Matter. They think white lives matter less. And LGBTQ turned into WTF.
Yeah.
My favorite song of my own is always like the most recent one, but I really like You Missed.
They don't want an election. They got so offended by freedom that they just try killing the president.
I remember being so pissed off and thinking, this moment doesn't need a song. It needs a battle cry.
You missed.
It's all been Nova and I from the inception of this thing. To this day, we distribute the music like totally independently. We don't have a manager. We don't have a publicist.
That's so
There's
cool,
no
dude.
record labels, agents, like nothing. It's definitely not easy being independent, but with how anti-woke my music is, a record label's never going to let me make the songs that I've been making. The music business and the mainstream media, they all work together.
Yeah.
At creating narratives and towing the line, and anything that goes against their agenda, that's not coming out. I talk about these things and I don't even consider myself a conservative. I think I'm just like a free thinking person. So if they're going to take away my social media you cancel me? I own all the cameras. I own all the lights. I own the recording software. There's no endorsement that I'm going to lose. And you are not going to shut me up. You're not going to make me feel small. It's not happening.
Yeah.
These artists that are top 40 artists that are mainstream, a lot of these people are controlled. And they never get to express themselves. And I've talked to a lot of them. They hit me up privately and say like, hey dude, good on you. Love what you're doing. They'd never acknowledge me publicly, ever. But even with all the censorship, we've got over 50 number ones on Billboard and 16 on the Hot 100, which is like the big boy chart. And I've gone head to head with Eminem on these charts and beat him. And Drake and beat him. There's people at record labels tearing their hair out over this stuff because they're sinking hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to convince people that these are the folks you should be listening to. And people are saying, I'm going to listen to Tom because there's like an appetite for real music and an appetite for truth. Just be real. That's what people want. They're getting lied to on the news. They get lied to in the paper. They get lied to on social media. Where is somebody that's just going to be honest with us? I'll do it. I don't care. I'm just grateful to be in America. After all, I came here unwell, addicted, $800 in my wallet, and built a whole life for myself and my girlfriend. It's really incredible. The American dream's still alive and well. All you have to do is live up to your potential. That's why I love this place so much. I just fell in love with the American spirit, and I fell in love with the people. And going out on July 4th and standing in the crowds and singing the anthems and watching the fireworks, it just makes me want to speak the truth even more. You know, my dad's a big rock guy, and he told me something when I started writing rap music. Rock and roll's always been about screaming the truth at the top of your lungs. He said, you might be rapping, but what you're doing is rock and roll.
Yeah.
Hey, yo.
And rock on.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
This has been Stories of Us with me, Tom MacDonald. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please consider making a donation to keep PragerU videos free.
Hell yeah, dude.
Damn.
Hell yeah and a half. That's
I tell
awesome.
you what, man, him talking about the American dream, man, in the sky, come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
About make you want to tear
That was
up
good.
over here.
That was
like,
really
woo.
good, man. And I'm like getting stuck listening to the mix because there's no vocals in it, and I'm like trying to listen to all the layers behind him talking. I'm like, how'd they do it? How'd they do it? How'd they do it? Then I'm like, wait, listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying. Yeah, really good, dude.
And that's true. Okay, so there's a couple things. Number one, it always seems the best songs that you write are the ones that you sit down and just write a beginning to end. Just know you're so focused and zoned in. And those are the songs that always seem to do the best. They mean the most to you. Like I had a song that I wrote when I was in high school. I was about 16, and I was like, my dad was dating this girl, and that wasn't going so well, and I was upset about a whole bunch of different things. And I remember just like I can't, like, you know, and being a teenager in school is like hard enough and like that type of thing. And I remember sitting down, picking up my guitar and just like, I got to write something. And I was going through a breakup at the time, and I wrote this song called "Give Me That Girl," and it's a song that's about, and of course I was super into country, so it's a country song, but it's like what I want in the person that I hope to be with the rest of my life. Sure. And it's not only just about having that love and connection with that person, but it's about all the rest of your life being stable at the same time. And every time I played it, people loved it. And it was one of those, like, I still have the original thing that I wrote. I wrote it on a piece of notebook paper with a pencil. And I remember playing the guitar for, I think I must have played for like 6 hours that night. And my fingers were bleeding from playing and sliding on the strings. And there's blood on that paperwork. And I still have it. I have it laminated in a thing. And one of these days, maybe I'll record it. But it always seems those are the best songs. Yeah, and Dear Rappers was like that song for him.
Yeah. It's the circumstances they recorded that in are just wild, dude. The fact that he just got angry at a rap song and was like, you know what? Got 2 minutes to smoke a cigarette. I'm going to write all this down. Yeah. And then picked it up and went.
No edits necessary. Let's go.
I got something here. I got something. Nova, grab a camera. We're doing this.
We're doing this. And then the second thing is, like, he mentioned, like, there's something about the American anthem. And I know, like, a lot of you guys, you watch our reaction channel, so you probably watch a lot of other ones. There's a lot of reaction channels, and maybe we'll do this towards one of our last episodes, because it's always something I wanted to do on 4th of July. And then we get so busy, I just forget. But there are reactors in other countries who react to, what am I thinking? Versions of the American national anthem. Oh. I don't ever hear anybody reacting to the Canadian anthem or the anthem from Mexico or the German anthem. It's like there's something special about the American anthem it's one of those, it just grabs you. And I think a lot of it has to do with, like, the story of how it was, once again, it was a song that was penned down during a really intense time, and there was a lot of emotion that was poured into the writing of that song, just like Dear Rappers, just like the song I had wrote, just like a lot of great music that has stood the test of time. There's usually a strong emotional reaction that goes into the writing of that song. And I think that's why the U.S. anthem has just had the effect that it does have. It's crazy.
Yeah. I always get lost in thought when I hear stuff like this, because it's so inspirational, man. It's like he literally just went out on a limb, pulled some money from people, and was like, look, I got this song. I'm just going to push the shit out of it on Facebook. Yeah. I'm going to put $1,100 worth of it into Facebook marketing, and just hopefully this thing takes off.
Hopefully it takes off.
24 hours, million views, $11,000. Like,
it's crazy, man.
And then 30 days, $20,000. 30 days, 40. 30 days, 60. 30, you know, like, holy shit. Yeah. Like, all of a sudden you're just like, this is it. We did it. Yeah. It's like one of those, The Food That Built America. You ever watch that show? It's on TLC or something like that, or Travel Channel or something, whatever it is. But it's got all these foodies that talk about, like, these stories in history about the food that kind of changed America, and, like, how things were invented, and you know, the way they came up. There's always some random circumstance, kind of like the Fat Files, what we watch. You know, it's similar to that, but it's mostly about food. And there's always some random crazy thing, or someone takes some wild chance on something, and before you know it, boom, wildfire, spreading like crazy, dude, and just all of a sudden everybody needs it or wants it or has it, and then they got $1 million, you know?
And it's really interesting that Tom says, you know, the American dream is alive and well. I hear more and more people, especially lately, being like, man, the American dream is just, it's dead. There's nothing like the economy's so bad, it's so hard to get into a house. And here's the thing. Our economy's not great, okay, but it's still better than Canada's. Our country produces, 4 times the amount of what Canada does. And, a lot of people like to compare us to Canada. Housing in Canada is insane right now. Like, it is really difficult to get into a house. And I can't imagine that Because I'm looking for a house right now, and let me tell you, it's fucking
crazy
rough
out
here. Like,
and we always we compare our health system to Canada's. Oh, if we were on Canadian health system, we wouldn't have to pay these fees because they're on universal health care. And it's like, you're right, you don't have to pay fees, but you also have to. Your wait times could be months, years before you get in to see anybody to do a thing. It's absolutely insane.
It's such a double-edged sword because I get it. Like, how do you put a price on a human life?
No,
like
totally.
It's impossible.
Totally get it.
Like, I get it. So like, providing free healthcare is it's really nice.
It makes sense.
Like, I get it. On the flip side of that, okay, if I have free healthcare, okay, now provided I'm probably a horrible example because I just I'm out here just living life. I don't give a fuck. But like my dad brought up a good point we were talking about. He goes, well, if you have free healthcare, and it's necessary that you have to get a weight loss surgery or you're gonna die, then cool. What's to stop you from continuing to eat the way you have and not working out and not bettering yourself because you just rely on a free service to keep you going?
Because you're going to get it for free eventually, and so yeah.
So it's anything that's free always gets taken advantage of,
and that's why the wait times and stuff are so long, and that's why people are having a hard time getting in because it's wild because there are so many people constantly trying to get in there. Because it's free, you don't gotta pay. So
I would assume most of it's for shit that you don't really need to be there.
I was gonna say it's like, this hypochondriacal. I don't know if that's a word. Or it's hypochondriac kind of stuff where it's like, well, I think maybe I'm sick, so I better go see a doctor.
Yeah,
it's like you had a stomach ache. You're gonna be fine. Drink some soda.
A big thing, and it happens here, okay? And our healthcare system here, it's so fucking expensive. It's crazy.
I don't even like to drive by the hospital because I feel like someone's watching me.
I gotta hold on to my wallet.
It's like a cop speed gun, but it's a calculator, and they're just fucking. Okay, that was $26. Fine him. We got his license plate. Yeah, I get scared. I'm like, I don't even drive on the street with a hospital anymore.
But like, people here will abuse the hospital system to get drugs. Now, just imagine that they didn't have to pay for that visit and it's free.
And you can just go in and get drugs for free.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There has to be some sort of... There has to be a regulation somewhere. There has to be. And in order to keep... I don't know, man. It's not my place. I'm so glad I'm not a politician.
And I think Jordan Peterson is setting a good example with his new university. Because people are asking him, he goes... Well, how do we price this, right? He goes, I would love to give it away for free, but things that are free get taken advantage of.
That's fair.
And he goes, we can't have that. Plus, anything that's free typically has low value, and this is a very valuable thing that I want to give out. He said, but I can't charge what the universities are charging because that's outrageous. Like, that's insane, the amount universities are charging.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
So he's like, you know what? We're going to start out at $40 a month, which seems really fucking reasonable for a university degree. Like, that's crazy.
Considering even if you do, let's see, 4 times 12 is 48, so it's $480 a year. A semester's, what, 9 weeks or something like that?
Yeah.
So you're talking for 3, so for...
And let's just say it's 500. Let's round it up.
So you could do 2 semesters for $1,000?
Yeah. Like, that's typically you're doing one semester for $2,500. At a local
at a
college,
community college, and that's just tuition. That's just tuition.
It's insane.
So you're saving a ton of money.
There's got to be a balance with that, with the healthcare system too. Like, what we're paying now is outrageous.
Oh yeah,
but
it's wild.
On the other hand, I don't think necessarily free is the answer either. So, what do you do?
Yeah, true. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I just go to work every day and try not to think about it.
The government gets involved, and insurance companies get involved.
Hope my leg doesn't get split open. I have to go to the hospital. That would be absolutely horrible because I'd have to get fixed, and that would be terrible because then I'd have to owe somebody money.
Yep. Yep.
God forbid I have to go somewhere and get something fixed. Oh no.
God, dude. It was so funny when my shoulder broke. I waited 4 hours to go to the doctor after I broke my shoulder. I was like, nah, it's fine. It'll go away. And it just kept getting worse and worse. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't hardly stand it. Hurts so bad.
I think we need to go to the doctor.
It's like, fuck, I guess I'm going to go. And $4,000 later, they didn't even do nothing.
They put you in a sling.
They took an x-ray and put me in a sling.
Here's one of these paper bags, put it on your arm. And you went, cool, thanks.
Fucking thanks, dude.
Oh, and here's your bill.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Take ibuprofen.
Three bills.
Take ibuprofen when you feel pain.
Great.
Cool, thanks. I would have done that already. Appreciate it.
Oh, yep. And then we're going to need you to come back.
Oh, we need to do follow-ups, and we might have to do some physical therapy. Might have to sign you up for the physical. You're like, no.
I straight up told him, I was like, I'm not paying for physical therapy.
Nope.
I said, if you want to hand me a book on what I need to do, that's fine.
That's cool.
I said, I ain't going.
No, I'm not going to that. It's insane. You can't charge me. You can't make me go. It's out. Physical therapy is outpatient, and you cannot make me go.
Yep. That's facts.
All right.
If you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as we did, be sure to leave a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, click the bell, become part of the notification gang. And if you do work hard enough, your dreams are achievable.
That's right.
And we're going to find that out over the next 10 years. In this studio, we're going to change lives, and hopefully our lives will change at the same time.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time. Bow.